These guys are ridiculous. These guys are ridiculous.
Now, how about them damn Celtics?
We are back with another How About Them Celtics video. Sam and I are here recording Thursday, September 7th. And today we're talking about the Celtics roster because you guys seem to like it when we talk about stuff that you don't know about. We talk about, past highlights and stuff, and no one cares. We talk about the Celtics signing a random guy to the 14th spot, and everyone loves it. So that's what we're doing today. We're talking about the guys Celtics could use to fill their final roster spot. Obviously, we got the news that Blake Griffin is quote-unquote unlikely to return to the Celtics per Adam Himmelsbach of the Boston Globe. So that does leave the Celtics with an open 15th roster spot. This idea comes from Bobby Kravitsky of Inside the Celtics Sports Illustrated, because he did write an article, how the Celtics might go about filling their final roster spot. We can go over his ideas, give some of our own, talk about it, see who the Celtics could, bring on board. The first thing Bobby mentioned, obviously they signed Steve Mikhaili to the 14th spot. And he says the best move would be bringing back Blake Griffin, which I do think is still the best move. And we've heard stuff that the Celtics could just leave the 15th roster spot open for Blake if he wants to come back eventually, maybe go into the season with only 14 guys, which I wouldn't be opposed to. I think they'll be fine because they also still do have a two-way spot they could fill, which is something interesting. To bring another younger guy or somebody who just can be an extra body to throw in if they need it. But with the news that Blake Griffin is unsure of his future, you have to also consider signing free agents. Some names Bobby mentioned, Kelly Oubre, Usman Garuba, both names that are still floating around in free agency. Garuba was just released by the Thunder, and Kelly Oubre has not signed in free agency yet, after spending last season with the Hornets. Bobby also goes on to mention Jeremiah Robinson Earl, because the Thunder have to release somebody eventually, and we don't know who they're going to get rid of. He's going to be on the chopping block probably, and that could fill the hole that Blake Griffin might leave. But I right now, if I had to guess, it's probably the Celtics leave it open heading into the season, open for Blake to join at a later date if he chooses. But at the same time, you don't really want to go in like they're an injury away from being very weak in the front court, right? They're a load management away from having Luke Cornett be their backup or third string big. So
who's fine?
He's fine. Like, I'm not saying Luke Cornett's bad, but you having another depth piece versus saving it for Blake, who doesn't know what's happening. You just have to sort of weigh your options as the season and offseason goes on.
Yeah, I think all of the teams in the NBA, it's kind of going to be like hungry hippos when OKC starts releasing players, where you're just going to see them all trying to snatch them up, because OKC has a really good core, obviously a bunch of young guys, and a lot of guys that could probably help contending teams, and also guys that the not so contending teams could be like, this is a guy we're going to develop. Just wait. One of the just wait guys that I kind of don't want the Celtics to sign anymore, because I'm just like, I don't care. Go out there and win. I don't care. You don't need to develop a 15th guy. It hasn't worked for you yet, really. If you want to point to Sam Hauser, go ahead. But they brought in Justin Jackson last year. See you later. He was gone halfway through the season. It just doesn't really seem to work out for the Celtics for whatever reason. Maybe they're not taking the right guys. One reason why I've heard people argue that the Heat have done such a great job at finding guys is because they're actually trying to find guys. They're not necessarily trying to develop guys out of nowhere and expect them to help. They're just picking out guys that they feel like they can help the team right then and there.
Yeah. And I think most of the guys that would come out of that would come out of OKC are younger. Yeah, both. I just wanted to talk to Thunder first because I think that the Spurs do have some veterans that could shake loose. But in the case of the Thunder, all the guys that are probably going to be let go are either hurt, in the case of Victor Oladipo, who don't really know what's going on next season. Maybe he recovers faster than anticipated and he plays a little bit. Maybe they just waive him, but he's making a lot of money, so it seems more likely to just keep him on the books. Davis Bertans, who has multiple years left on his deal, who is just going to be there, probably eating up cap space. Past that, it's Past that, we're looking at like Aaron Wiggins, Jeremiah Robinson, Earl Isaiah Joe, Jack White, like a lot of younger guys who just are probably to be end of the bench. Jeremiah Robinson Earl is probably the best fit with the Celtics because you've seen him play sort of win now minutes in the role of a stretch five. Maybe you think he's a little undersized to play the five, which is also fair. So that's probably the best option there. You look at the Spurs, though, and you could start to see some actually intriguing possibilities there because they have some veterans who they have to weigh whether or not they want to have a veteran presence on the roster with Wembanyama or want to let some of these youngsters go, or they want to develop these youngsters and get rid of some of the veterans. Because right now, I believe, according to this tweet I saw from Keith Smith, they have 18 players, so they need to release 3, to get down to 15. I'm going to double check that here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Yes, 18. I just want to check. I'm looking at the updated list. Guys that could be at risk to be released by the Spurs. You look at Devontae Graham, who Celtics probably wouldn't have interested in. Their guard rotation was all right, and he's not very impactful. We talked about him last podcast. Reggie Bullock, who they just got from the Mavericks, a veteran wing, seemed to maybe like him, maybe want him in the trade, but who knows? Kem Birch, if you really want to get a backup center, fine.
Hold on after Kem Birch.
At that point, are we going to laugh at Devontae Graham? Is that what's happening?
No, I'm going to laugh because if the Celtics really wanted Reggie Bullock, then they could have just got him back in the Grant trade.
New FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets, guaranteed. Plus, all customers who bet $5 will get $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube at YouTube TV.
Yeah. Yeah, possibly. But maybe you'd rather have him shake loose and get him for the minimum for the $10 million he's owed.
Fair.
So that'd save the Celtics some money. Campaign, if you want to, shore up the guard position behind Brogdon and Peyton Pritchard, who are question marks at times. Charles Bassey, who's a younger center, but he played some good minutes for them this past year. But then on the flip side, the issue is with the Spurs is if they want to keep that veteran presence and get rid of some young guys, Charles Bassey is the first one that comes to, the mind. But after that, they don't really have many options to release young guys, right? Like Mamu Kalashvili, they just re-signed to a new contract. Sidney Sissoko is a rookie. They just brought him back. Blake Wesley is super young. Maybe he gets the axe, but he still seems like a guy they're looking at. Malachi Branham played well in summer league. Like they don't have as many young guys like the Thunder where they can say,
Branham
was get him out here. It's fine. Who?
Branham? He was a lottery pick, right?
I've had it just outside of it. I'm going to check. He was the 20th pick.
All right.
Middle for sure. But yeah.
All right. Not that crazy to conceptualize getting rid of him.
Another guy I didn't mention, Chetty Osman, who's another wing, but Celtics have a lot of those. So.
Yeah, they don't necessarily need him anymore. They just brought in Mikhailo to pick up that role. A position that they, or at least we felt, they could improve on. They definitely got literally just about every wing they could get.
They got a lot.
I'm interested to see what they do with it. I hope it's Blake Griffin. Probably won't be. I'd like to see Isaiah if not. But if you can't get either of one of those to make any sense for you, then why not go after one of these guys? I just really would prefer that they go after somebody that can help right away. I'm kind of out on the young guy project thing.
I was just going to say the only other team that has players they have to release is the Memphis Grizzlies, and the guys they're going to release are probably going to be Josh Christopher and Isaiah Todd, neither of whom would fit the mold of a win-now player for the Celtics.
Give me Kenny Lofton Jr.
Yeah, no shot. They're not releasing.
That'd be so fire.
Kenny Lofton
get him in.
No
also, I completely lost my train. Oh, Kenneth Faried. Yeah,
that's what I was just going to say. Yeah,
go get him. Pull up the highlights. Throw on some more Kenneth Faried highlights for the people. Just like
no.
Super cool Kenneth Faried dunk.
Other names that we've sort of phased out and stopped talking about, mostly because of lack of position release anymore. Austin Rivers. There was the rumor that they were interested in Austin Rivers. That could still be floating about. Justice Winslow was a name we talked about in terms of interest, but it just seems like they don't need a wing anymore. Ish Smith and Kendrick Nunn are guards still available. Terrence Davis was the name the Celtics were supposedly interested in way at the beginning of the summer. So that's somebody.
Were they interested, or did you just make that up for Celtics blog and then you got aggregated?
No, there was something for about Terrence Davis. No. That was an actual thing. There was some rumbling. I don't know if it was like
because I did see.
Yeah,
Terrence
I wrote
Davis
about
tied, but it was linked back to you.
No. I can't remember if it was like a reputable source or not, but I remember seeing like brief rumblings that Terrence Davis could be somebody they talk to. Past that, TJ Warren, JaMychal Green is a big man we looked at. Willie Hernan-Gomez is having a pretty good what's it called? FIBA World Cup. Bismack Biyombo is a name. Javonte Green is somebody that we talked about for a potential Celtics return. If you just want the vibes and a guy who can give you some minutes at the 4, albeit small, but a 4 nonetheless. Wenyen Gabriel, somebody I brought up at the start of the summer, is a potential backup big. I think Wenyen Gabriel will just be like, when I'm thinking of a big man, I'm thinking Luke Cornett is there to give you the just going to stand in the paint, play straight up defense. if I'm getting another big man, I probably want somebody more like Rob, a little bit athletic, to contrast Luke Cornett. So that's why I keep bringing up Wenyen Gabriel. But maybe bring back, Matt Ryan for the vibes from Malik Fitz. Why not at this point? Like, who cares? We're getting down to the point where just the
Give me
Celtics
a
are going to
spot.
sign who they sign. Yeah, let me or Sam
I'll play
jump on the
defense.
roster.
Try.
But anyways, thank you all for tuning in to How About Them Celtics. We appreciate you. Subscribe to the channel. Let us know who you want the Celtics to sign with their final roster spot. I saw somebody in the comments today give a couple names, neither of which I thought were great, but he
Rudy Gay
said
was one of them.
Rudy Gay would be out there, would be the perfect fit for the Celtics. Taj Gibson and JaMychal Green. Spoiler alert, we're not in 2015 anymore, but thank you. I do like JaMychal Green still, and Taj Gibson's fine for what he does. Rudy Gay was really bad last season. Rudy Gay shot 38% from the field and 25% from deep in close to real minutes for the Jazz. He played 15 minutes a night in 56 games. Not great. Anyways, subscribe to How About Them Celtics. Thank you for watching. Let us know who you want the Celtics to sign. Sam, get us out of here.
Yes, thank you very much for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. You can also find the full-length pods here as well as Spotify and Apple. Make sure you follow us there, leave a 5-star review.
CLNS.
And CLNS. Playback TV. You can find us there. We'll be doing streams throughout the play-in tournament or the stupid new tournament that we're going to the semifinal of. So essentially, we're really rooting hard for the Celtics to be there, because if not, then we did a whole trip for nothing. And you can follow us on Twitter at How About Them C's, as well as Instagram and TikTok. Facebook is just the name of the podcast. You can follow Jack on Twitter at JackSmonNBA. You can follow me at Sam LaFrance NBA. That's it for us. Bye.
Tic-tac-toe.